Will you tell the woman over there that that microphone for the stand is not working, the batteries are dead? So either someone has to tell them that to speak up if someone's going to speak in there, or she's got to find new batteries for it. Just tell her that the batteries are dead in the cordless mic for the guest speakers. The woman in the flowers.
Sure. Okay, that's it.
Good luck. Yes. Welcome. Yeah. We're recording now. I've got it up live streaming. I borrowed a tripod from there. I've got it all hooked up, but you guys feel free to come up and do. Sorry about that. Yeah, that's where it is. Guys, feel free to come aboard.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for calling the meeting to order at 7:39 p.m. Before we begin our meeting, I ask everyone to please take a moment to silence their cell phones. Thank you. Will the clerk please read the compliance with the Senator Byron Bear Open Public Meetings Act?
In accordance with Section 5 of the Senator Byron Bear Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in the annual notice schedule, which contain the time, date, and location of this meeting. Copies of which notices were forwarded to the official county newspapers, to wit, the Herald News and the Record, and a copy of which was posted on the bulletin board in the Bergen County Justice Center and Administration Building, 1 Bergen County Plaza, Hackensack, New Jersey, and filed with the office of the Bergen County Clerk.
Thank you. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Freeholder Omarosa. Here. Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz. Here. Freeholder Tonelli.
Here.
Freeholder Voss.
Here.
Freeholder Zerk. Here. Chairman Sullivan.
Here. Evidence of a quorum is present. Let me please rise to the pledge of allegiance. I ask Mayor Keith Shagger, please lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Freeholder Tonelli was the brains of the operation. His grandson, very proud moment. We'll be getting to that in a minute. Before we begin the meeting, we do have some presentations, but before we start, I would like to recognize a few people in the room there. Keith Shagger from Park Ridge, thank you for having us here this evening. Council President Matt Capilli is here, and Councilman Robert Metzloff is here. I'd ask our mayor if he'd like to say a few words before we begin. Welcome everybody, and thank you for letting us use your council.
this on the mic. I'm loud. I'm as loud as you. No.
Pete, you got me beat. I'm 2 doors down from you every day. You got me beat.
No, that's fine. Well, I just wanted to say on behalf of the, this is okay, on behalf of the roughly 9,000 residents of Park Ridge, thank you for coming here and welcome to Park Ridge. We're a unique community in as much as we have our own electric and water utility, so you're welcome to drink as much water as you want tonight. I specifically want to thank Chairman Sullivan and the rest of the freeholders for working so well with us over the last year. In particularly, on this ordinance that you'll be presenting today, ordinance, I believe it's 18-28, which will lower the speed limit on this corridor and on Park Avenue. I can tell you by doing that, you're saving lives. We've had some fatalities here, pedestrians. We have 9 crosswalks in a quarter-mile stretch where there's a temple, a high school, ball fields, tennis courts. It needs to be lowered in order for people, and it's a very narrow road. So on behalf of those lives that you're saving, I thank you. It might be mine because I'm here quite a bit. I thank you very much. And more importantly, I thank you for being there when I call. And it's something that's very important to our little communities up here when we go to the big county leaders. You're always there for us, and we appreciate that very much. I also want to mention the young freeholder over there. My seat might be leveled enough for him to sit on. So thank you very much, and I'll be here if you need me for anything, water or anything like that.
So thank you, Mayor. So again, before we do our presentations, this meeting on the road is our 3rd out of 4 this year. One was canceled due to weather, and it just follows through on a campaign promise made by freeholders Zora and Sinelli to bring the meetings to other areas of the county so they can see what we do and how we do it. So thank you to freeholder Sinelli and freeholder Zora. I happen to, as the chairman, you have a little bit of leeway as to where you have the meetings. It's approved by the board. And being a resident of Montvale, we decided to be here in Park Ridge last year. Freeholder Zora, growing up in Woodfield Lake, had the meeting at the Pascagoula Hills. So we want to make sure the Pascagoula Valley is represented, and I'm glad to be part of the Pascagoula Valley. I'm glad to represent everybody in this room. And that being said, we'll get to our presentations. The star of the show is getting a little antsy, so let's get to it. Okay. Our first presentation is in recognition of September 2018 as Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. We are honored to have some special guests with us tonight. First, we have the president and founding member of the Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation, Kim, Illinois, and her son Cole. We also have Dan and Stephanie Tinelli and their son Landon. Yeah, you! We just celebrated his 2nd birthday this past weekend. He got it right, so I asked him how many he did. It must be his grandmother working on it. All of you will receive a Bergen County Freeholder pin, along with a copy of Resolution 879-18 that we will be passing tonight. So if my freeholder colleagues like to join me down here, we'll make a presentation. How are you? Nice to meet you.
Hello.
How are you?
How are you? Okay.
So I think this is pretty important that we're going to read the whole resolution. I usually just skip to the end, but I think this is pretty important, so we'll read the whole thing. Whereas hydrocephalus is an excessive accumulation of fluid in the brain that occurs when proper fluid drainage is obstructed. And whereas hydrocephalus, am I saying that right? You are. Okay. Steve only children at 100 sons. That may be present at birth or may develop at any stage later in life. And whereas an average of 200,000 cases of hydrocephalus are reported a year, impacting an estimated 1 million Americans nationwide. And whereas the medical community reports about 1 in every 500 children is born with this incurable condition that may result in varying degrees of disability. And whereas the United States Congress passed a resolution in 2009 designating the month of September as National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. Steve, why don't you finish it? Okay. Yeah.
Whereas hydrocephalus research funding is far behind other conditions with similar prevailing numbers, in an effort to increase public awareness, research finding, and information regarding hydrocephalus, and now therefore be resolved that the Bergen County Board of Children Freeholders hereby recognizes September 2018 as Hydrocephalus Awareness Month in Bergen County, State of New Jersey.
Let's take a picture. Turn around. We'll take a picture together. Put the two superstars in the front. There you go. Landon's birthday is his 2-year-old birthday. So if you want to eat this now, yes, Mom. Happy birthday. We'll sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Landon. Happy birthday to you. All right. Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to use the microphone because I'm Italian and I talk loud. Well, thank you. This is very nice. Cole, you want to come on? As the freeholder said, this is National Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. Prior to 2009, there was no awareness month for hydrocephalus, although 1 million Americans are affected by it. In 2009, January, my husband and I, along with 3 other families in New Jersey, founded the Pediatric Hydrocephalus Foundation. We are the largest organization dedicated solely to pediatric hydrocephalus. We are an all-volunteer organization, including myself. We do not take any salaries. We don't pay office rent. We have our offices donated to us. With very low overhead. 100% of all the money we make goes directly to funding our mission, which is education support and funding research. To date, we've given about $500,000 to research in the last 10 years. We try to find projects that are going to give better quality of life to our kids. What you see in Landon is not typical. He's beautiful and running and looks healthy, and if you didn't know, you'd say he's a beautiful, perfect 2-year-old. That's not typical. My son is pretty average. He's had 13 brain surgeries, all before he was 4 years old. But children have an average of anywhere between 10 and 100 brain surgeries by the time they reach adulthood. That's not a way to live. So we donate all our money to research, and we're trying to find better treatments and someday hopefully a cure. And we thank you for this. This is great to have recognition like this. We appreciate it. Saturday, 2963 Edison, New Jersey. We have face painter, superheroes. We get 400 people every year, and we usually raise about $25,000 to $30,000. So if anybody has nothing to do that day, come on down and join us.
Thank you so much for the education. This resolution on this issue was added to the non-consent agenda in our work session. So we took that out of order so we could do it first and be recognized. So can I have a motion to vote on this non-consent item? Motion by Freeholder Tenali. Motion by Freeholder Tenali, second by Freeholder Cross. Before we vote on resolution 879-18, is there anyone who wishes to speak? I know Steve would like to speak. I would just like to say thank you for your efforts. Thank you for everything you do. And we appreciate everything. If anyone else besides Steve, I think Steve should be asked to speak. Anybody else wishes to speak on this issue? Okay, Freeholder, you're up, buddy.
So I'm going to say something from my report as well, but, 26 months ago, I didn't even know what hydrocephalus was. And, the incredible news finding that out before the baby's even born of what he's going to be facing, we have been blessed, I guess because they got it early enough that he so far hasn't shown a lot of signs of having things that are going to impact him as he gets older. But to find out it affects how many older people it affects as we get older in life, or blunt trauma to your head, it impacts a lot of people, and to not even know, I've never even heard of it before, the diagnosis. So I'm so happy that you came. I'm so sorry it was such short notice, but once I saw the post that it was this month, we missed it last year, would have been our first year to be able to do it. So to be able to recognize it this month and to start, my family's unfortunately had MS running through between my father and my brother, and I was very active, and I'm planning on ramping up the activity for hydrocephalus too, because nobody should have to struggle. These poor kids should not have to struggle the way they do. So thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
I'll see you soon.
Thank you. Okay, will clerk please call the roll?
Freeholder Rosa.
Here.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz. Here. Freeholder Tenali.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zerk.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes. Okay, so the motion is approved. We're going to go back to a couple more presentations. In keeping with the birthday theme, our next presentation tonight is to celebrate the 100th birthday of Park Ridge resident Mary DeSpirit. Mary is a member of the Golden Age Social Club of Park Ridge and has been a resident of Bergen County for 36 years. We have a proclamation from County Executive James Tedesco, who unfortunately cannot be here tonight, but sends his well wishes. We also have Mayor Keith Mishagi here tonight to make a presentation on behalf of the borough, as well as a commendation and special surprise from the Freeholder Board. I'd like to ask Mary to please come forward while we'll give you his presentation.
So we have a Scotch, right? Yeah. So we have a proclamation from the county executive, which I'm going to ask my Freeholder Vice Chairwoman to please present to you or read that to you. Don't mind.
Whereas on September 1st, 1918, Mary Patricia was born in Jersey City, New Jersey, and whereas after Mary married Gino DeSpirito in 1942, the couple moved to Hasbrook Heights, where they would reside for 38 years. And whereas in 1988, Mary and Gino moved to Park Ridge to be near their only daughter Cheryl and her husband Jonathan. And whereas throughout 72 years of marriage, God bless, Mary and Gino enjoyed traveling, dancing, bowling, as well as being involved in community organizations. And whereas on September 4th, 2018, Mary celebrates her 100th birthday with the Golden Age Beach Club of Park Ridge, an organization that she has been actively involved in for the past 30 years. And whereas on behalf of the people of Bergen County, I extend our warmest wishes to Mary DeSperdo on the occasion of our 100th birthday. Now therefore resolved that I, James J. Tedesco III, Executive of the County of Bergen, the State of New Jersey, do hereby recognize Mary DeSperdo. Congratulations.
On behalf of the Freeholder Board, this is Mary DeSperdo, recognition and celebration of your 100th birthday, September 1st, 2018. On behalf of the nearly 1 million residents of Bergen County, we extend our best wishes to you on this special day, presented September 5th, 2018, Bergen County. Thank you very much. Oh, we have a special cake. It says, probably can't read it, but I can probably read it. It says, Happy 100th birthday, Mary. Just to you. And you. So we asked Mary what her secret was, and she says she lives a wild life. So why don't we all turn around and take a picture of you? Do you mind? Do you mind? Where am I looking, guys?
I just want to say, Tom, I know it's your meeting, but if we did present Mary with something from the borough, and I sang happy birthday to her. She said I had a wonderful voice. So would you do it one more time?
Sure.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mary. Happy birthday to you.
We have the mayor and council. We have a couple of pictures as well.
That'd be great.
Mayor and council.
How do you look great? She has her real good.
Even though my wife is sick, I give you gifts. I guess the Freeholder Board should want to stay here. We got one more presentation.
Okay.
Well, our final presentation is in recognition of September as Drug and Alcohol Recovery Month. We are pleased to have with us Donna Zott, who is a member of the Park Ridge Board of Health. I'd like to ask Ms. Zott, along with Mary Shaggy, to join us and the council to receive a ceremonial copy of Resolution 870-18, in which this board recognizes September as Drug and Alcohol Recovery Month. Mayor, Ms. Zott, you want to come forward? So there's a lot of whereas's here. I'm just going to read the end. Must have pressed too small. So I'm going to read, now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders of the County of Bergen does hereby recognize the month of September 2018 as National Recovery Month in Bergen County. And be it further resolved that the Board of Chosen Freeholders hereby commends the Bergen County Department of Health, Office in Alcohol and Drug Dependency, Municipal Alliance, along with other programs and staff members of Spring House, Halfway House for Women, the Addiction Recovery Program, and the Intoxicated Driver Resource Center for their dedication to the prevention, treatment, and recovery from the disease of addiction. And be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be sent to the office of the Bergen County Executive, James J. Tedesco III, Bergen County Department of Health Services, and the governing bodies of all municipalities in the County of Bergen, presented by the Bergen County Board of Chosen Freeholders. Thank you very much.
soft tonight. My name is Donna Zott. I proudly reside at 38 South 5th Street in Park Ridge, New Jersey. Good evening, and thank you all for coming. I was an administrator and a manager with the county for 35 years and worked with some of you who are your predecessors. Ms. Moss, I know well, and Mr. Nance, I know well. As Chief Executive Officer for the Health Department, I had the opportunity to work with knowledgeable professionals in substance abuse, health education, some of the programs that you mentioned, and health consultation programs. In addition, I have served, thanks to Mayor Mashega, on the Park Ridge Board of Health since my retirement from the county, and fervently support the efforts of the county to intervene with high-risk populations such as the IDRC program, the Addictions Recovery Program, through health education and specific intervention modalities. Your proposed resolution recognizes the severe problem of addiction in this county as well as the country. Secondary prevention programs provided by the county have a proven impact on already identified populations based on indicators measured on program completion and the rate of recidivism. We can measure them, and we know, as you said, IDRC, ARP are successful. However, I feel that population-based health education programs could be more encompassing of new methodologies of prevention containing more inclusive community involvement. It is my fervent hope that current national research in social learning theory be evaluated and employed so that Bergen County and its contracting communities have the tools to deal with this overwhelming problem. The goal being the development of strategies based on theories and psychosocial models of prevention that deter alcohol and drug use. Models for intervention should include an integrated approach among individuals, families, institutions, and the community at large, not just a health education group for a singular number of people. As cited in Breathes, which is an annual report put out by the CDC, between 2014 to 2017, self-reported alcohol and drug usage in New Jersey went from 4% to 8%. And that's significant given our population. And that's self-reported. So it also, it's bigger than that. Any approach to primary prevention programs must have a goal of emotional stability and a meaningful sense of self. Public health research has shown that individuals make decisions to engage in specific behaviors by evaluating the information or education that we give them and processing it through their developmental and biological systems. We need a program that addresses those things at the primary level, primary being before there's an issue, the educational level. In addition to the traditional health information, prevention programs are incomplete without addressing the individual's psychological, biological, and developmental maturity. Holistic programs enable individuals to make reasoned decisions to avoid alcohol and drugs. According to the National Institute of Health, and I believe you have another resolution for tonight, successful avoidance or risk aversion behavior correlates with a reduction in suicides. And for women, I thought this number was staggering. The impact is 6.5 to 9% greater, a reduction in suicides when they've gone through a program, and 2 to 3% for men if they go through a drug and alcohol rehab program. As leadership for the county, I would ask you to seek innovative and comprehensive approaches that rely on the integration of various efforts in the community, such as the educational system, the recreational system, public safety, etc. Bring it all together. You are the leadership for that. The towns flounder. They need your leadership. And employ creative, analytically supported interventions, such as cognitive dissonance or behavioral theory. There's a whole bunch out there that need to be looked at. Developmental role clarification, things like that. For maximum effectiveness, a primary prevention strategy needs to address the individual social network and the marketing and availability of alcoholic beverages and illicit drugs. As county leaders, you have the opportunity and access to advocate state level, looking right at you, Freeholder boss, policy reform. I'm sure you have. I know that this is your area. I know. Health and human. According to public health reports, no single approach has been identified as effective for preventing the use of drugs and alcohol, especially by youth. A multifaceted approach to primary prevention is therefore necessary. I thank you for your attention and giving me this platform to speak. We have enjoyed the programs from the county. I think the educational programs I've said enough about. As a Board of Health member, I look forward to our continued effective relationship with the county. Thank you.
Julie? You got a picture? Oh, you got Karen?
Okay. Well, I want to thank you for your kind words, and just to touch on a few things Bergen County does do that maybe some other counties don't do when it comes to addiction. And we have drug court in Bergen County, which not many other counties do. We have we supported mental health issues. We've added money to the budget every single year. We constantly go after addiction. The prosecutor's office also has worked together with family services to have coaches for people that are addicted to heroin or whatever they're addicted to. So I appreciate your words tonight, but I do want people in Bergen County to know that we are doing everything we possibly can. We will listen to some of your suggestions, but I think it's important that the people in Bergen County know that this board has been proactive in any kind of addiction, not just heroin, alcohol, and everything else. And we will continue to be proactive, even when the state has cut aid. This board here did not. Not only did we not cut it, we increased it every year. When it was cut, we increased it by 12% to make up for the cut. So Bergen County is a county that takes it seriously. We are out there doing everything possible. Like I said, we work with the prosecutor's office, with the drug court, we have the coaching, and we're going to continue to do it because we, as a person that knows of addiction, I've lost my best friend, my brother, to all kinds of addictions, and I'm not the only one, right? We don't get, a lot of times you get involved because it hits home, similar to with Steve this evening, what he's now involved with. But everybody, I think everybody is touched by addiction in some way, shape, or form. And on behalf of the county, I tell you that we are working hard. We have taken some of the things that you said that you recommended, they're already in place. So Bergen County is light years above other counties, and we will continue to do it. So thank you for your time. Will the clerk please read the resolution on the consent agenda? Oh, I skipped the page. That's my aide. My aide is this. Give me the wrong page. May I have a motion to open the meeting to the public? So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We will now have the hearing of the general public with a 3-minute time limit in effect in accordance with the Bergen County Freeholder bylaws. The board attorney will keep the time. When the time of the speaker expires, the board attorney will announce the time has expired. Please fill out a slip of paper with your name, address, and general topic of which you would like to speak. So if anyone hasn't filled it out and they would like to, over here, you can grab a piece of paper, fill out your name, and submit it to Mike, and you can come speak here.
Lou Vellucci
Yeah,
from Mawa.
yeah,
Come on up.
I got a problem.
How y'all doing? Vellucci, first name Lou, L-O-U. It's good to see you all the good people. I've been busy working, so I haven't been involved for a few years, but I'm here just to publicly state kind of an ethical and political conundrum going on right now. It seems, I don't know how many of you are Democrats or Republicans, I really don't have a clue, but it seems like the new governor wants to do some things to protect the environment. He's being held up by the New Jersey Senate, specifically the Senate president. So if any of you know him, maybe you could just send the word that, no, this is serious stuff, because I'm a veteran. I'm going to quote some veterans here. And what do we have? We elected a governor. Why will they not bring a bill to the floor? Now, if it's voted down, it's voted down. That's democracy, 40 senators, right? I believe it. I have nothing against state senator Sweeney. I like a lot of his policies. I'm pro-labor. But the point is, they're not bringing this bill, and they're going to start killing the bears again in October. And it seems like, again, it's like representative government. I'm not a lawyer. It doesn't seem to be working here. And I know I'm going to go over 3 minutes, so I'm going to cut it off short. But again, I'm honored. I'm an ex-military guy, and I just found out that Jim Chan passed away less than a year ago. And I want you to check out Wikipedia, the 1st Earth Battalion. You got that sign, Tommy? So anyway, one of their principles was to first seek non-destructive methods. This was a Special Forces decorated Vietnam soldier. So that's what we should be doing here. We should be looking out, for our planet. And another, General Schwarzkopf, he also fought for the grizzly bears. You could Google it, in Yellowstone a few years back. And we have right here in New Jersey, Ulysses S. Grant V. Did you know that? Yeah. And he's the curator of the New York Museum. Now, Ulysses S. Grant, I've read about 3 of his biographies. He was a big animal lover, a horse whisperer. So you got all these people saying, let's do the right thing. So the point is, let's just have what the people want. If you want statistics, 1/10 of 1% of the people participate in it. 94% in the public comment period said they don't want to do the hunt. 88% said don't use bows. And the last administration did it anyway. So they're playing games with with the Fish and Wildlife Council. You're powerful people. I'm not. Just wanted to make you aware of it. And if you're Democrats, maybe you could just put it to a vote so you could do. That's it. All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your service too. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
I didn't really do much, but these guys did.
You did more than me. All let's students. Word out.
Good pronunciation of the name there. Pretty good. Hit it.
Spell your last name, please.
Pardon me?
Spell your last name.
Oh, LatsoUNAS.
Okay.
Okay.
I was practicing it.
You did good. I'm from the great town, this great family town of Oroville. And I came here because we were a little distraught. What happened? Bergen County just is creating, or I don't know if you finished yet, a golf club. It was part of the Emerson Golf Club. And you bought it, and when you bought it, we lost the tax revenue on it because you're exempt from taxes. I asked my mayor, well, so we're exempt, so what are we going to get out of this? And she said to me, oh, we're going to get a lot of people coming and everything. I says, I'm not going to get anything out of it. I can't see anything coming out of it. I says, as far as for the taxpayer, the families. Okay, we have 2,700 families, and I think it comes to about $60 per family. So the thing is also is that we're going to lose that tax revenue in a 10-year period. It's $1,634,234. That's what it is. And that would have covered our turf, which we have to change every 10 years. Also our fire engine, okay? And all of our recreational facilities that we want to change our parks. We're trying to do that now. I'm on a subcommittee for that. And so I came here to ask, what can you do
to help us out. And it just doesn't feel right, that we should lose all that tax revenue, because we're really strapped for a lot of things right now. And I don't know if the mayor has said anything to you about it, but I came here on my own. I'm a regular taxpayer and a regular person.
Okay. Well, thank you. Have you addressed this with your mayor?
Yes, I did.
And what was her response?
She says that's the law, and there's nothing that we can do about it. But I'm asking you to help us. And so, what can we do?
You still have a minute left unless you want me to respond. It's up to you. You have anything else you want to say? I don't want to cut you.
Well, the other slogan is that people will be playing golf on the backs of the Oradell taxpayer at discount prices. And that's how we feel.
Okay, thank you.
I'm done.
All right, thank you.
You
So the Bergen County with the open tax purchased the land to maintain it as open space. So that's what we did. It was an area that we felt that county felt would be great for the taxpayers to maintain open space instead of getting housing shoved down your throat like a lot of communities, every community in this area is not in favor of, where a lot of these areas are now hit with the Mount Laurel decision and the building of all of that. That's not why we did, but those are some of the things that will benefit Oradell by not having such congestion. But we did it for open public space for the county residents of Bergen County. And that's why that decision was made. So other than that, I don't know what else to tell you.
Can I respond to you?
Sure.
Well,
You get 30 seconds.
Yeah, 25 seconds.
Okay. Well, now I lost it. Okay. Just that I thought that maybe you could do something. Maybe you could put some kind of recreational fee on it, a T fee or something, to help out even Emerson, because Emerson lost some revenue also. Okay, it wasn't only Oradell, but Oradell was 113 acres. Emerson was one lot. Yeah.
So we'll thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
All right. Sure.
So, not to resolve the issue regarding the golf course, but there are some avenues that you guys could actually explore, that your mayor and council could explore. Number one is this board finally stepped up and fully funded the open space trust fund. So a lot of the things that you mentioned in your comments were things where you can actually apply for open space money to help renovate your fields, and that's what the money's there for. So that's certainly available to your mayor and council. You mentioned first responder vehicles. Well, you should be contacting your congressman and trying to get some federal money back from your congressman to help offset some of the costs for some of your first responder vehicles. So there's other avenues out there. I mean, you really threw a couple really big ticket items at us, like to make your point, but the reality is that these grants are there to be applied for. A lot of towns utilize them. There's a big pot that everybody pulls from to try and help exactly what you're talking about. As far as the golf course, there were a lot of flooding areas down there that we're actually improving some of the areas of the golf course that's going to remediate some of the flooding that impacted the community as well.
And your mayor is very aware. She's very on top of those issues and is in constant communication with the county executive as well as this board. So we should be aware of that.
Okay, the only other thing on the affordable housing that you mentioned.
No, your time is up, so thank you.
Can I just say
your time is up. Thank you.
Okay.
Next speaker is Donna, did you want to say? Donna's up.
Donna Zod, Park Ridge. I'm up here as Park Ridge resident. I feel like I'm looking at the ancient Romans, and the Romans figured out who owns the roads and how to build them, who owns the people. And you own all our major throughways, the Kinderkumak Road, Park Avenue, where you've just reduced the speed limit, thank you very much, and Pascack Road. We are having some serious building on Kinderkumak, and your engineers were here 2 years ago to tell us that we would have the county's cooperation in resetting our traffic lights to match the traffic patterns that are going to probably be impacted by the building of affordable housing and other building in the town. And I'm just up to ask you for your support in that and pledge that you will help us with our issues. I understand that putting other lights is a difficult thing, and I'm not an engineer and don't pretend to be, obviously. I'm a health person. But,
So your mayor is in constant contact with me. Actually, we work in the same office. So he's in constant contact. He works his butt off when it comes to these issues. But, you know, when you're going to change patterns for traffic lights, you have to wait till all the construction's done. So you can't just change it one day and the next day change it again. So I'm just explaining to you how it works. So, you know, I don't think you expect it to be done that way. I'm just explaining for general knowledge. So that's what we're in the process of. When the mayor tells us that, you know, it's time for us to start synchronizing our lights or get things together, we're certainly gonna listen, just like we listened on this ordinance tonight to lower your speed limit.
Yes,
so,
thank you very much.
We're all about helping the public, and you have an advocate here at Pathback Valley that's gonna make sure it gets done.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Barbara Simon, appropriate.
Hi, I'm Barbara Simon and I live at the Atrium. I have two things to talk about, one county-wide, one local. County-wide. I said I live in the Atrium, I do not drive. Access Link, which is supposed to be New Jersey's transit method for people with disabilities to get around, does not come to Park Ridge. If you call them, they tell you we do not have a bus stop in Park Ridge. The commuter bus stop on Park Avenue doesn't count. So therefore, if you live in Park Ridge and don't have a car, there is no way to get around, period. I think that needs to be remedied. Park Ridge is part of Bergen County, and we should have the same services that other towns do.
So we're aware of Access Link and the problems. We're doing our best to incorporate all the towns. I know Freeholders is on top of this like white on rice. She's doing her, you know, as along with the rest of the board. We recognize there are issues and we're working to improve them.
Well, what does it take to make them acknowledge the bus stop in town?
So, first of all, if you have a need to get to a doctor's appointment or other kinds of appointments like that, the county does run a community transportation program, which you can reach out to.
I know between 10 and 2, Monday to Friday.
There's actually greater availability as far as those hours. It's not only 10. There's transportation to dialysis that starts much earlier in the morning. I believe it's at 7 o'clock in the morning. We have had, there's a company called ITN that we've been trying to get to expand their services.
They use Uber prices. I have done a lot of research on transportation. A lot of the agencies, Grandparents Go or something, use Uber pricing. It is expensive. The North Jersey Access Link is less expensive. It's supposed to be for disabled seniors. And I don't know why, I don't understand why they won't just, there's a bus stop on Park Avenue, count that, and make us come to Park Ridge.
We don't run Access Link. I wish that they would expand further north. It's been a conversation that we've had with them continually. But I can tell you that there have been conversations we've had with New Jersey Transit regarding cooperations between Park Ridge, Coast Lake, and Montville, things to experiment as far as that's concerned. I'm happy to talk to you about this further offline. It is something that we know. We want to make sure that people can continue to age in their communities, to be able to continue to live vibrant lives in the communities where they spent their entire existence. So this is a priority for all of us, and I'm happy to talk to you further about this.
After the meeting, we'll get together with Freeholders in our...
I hope you succeed.
Yes, thank you.
My next concern is Park Ridge based. Park Ridge, and I'm new to Park Ridge. Park Ridge seems to offer many activities. In the summer, they have music concerts. They have music at something called the Little Red Barn. They have Shakespeare at the park. They have a picnic. They have fireworks. They have many nice activities. I don't drive. Almost all of these activities are in the evenings and on weekends. The Park Ridge bus does not run. So again, I have no access to any of the events in Park Ridge that are held in the evening. And I would like Park Ridge to please do something about that.
Okay, so you have your mayor and a couple council members. I would suggest you talk to them after the meeting. From my experience with them, they're very accommodating. So there's your mayor and there's a couple of council. You got your council president, Matt Capilli, the young guy with the haircut there. Make sure you talk to him. Okay?
I met him Tuesday.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brandy Honey.
Spell your name, please.
Brenda Yanni, Y-A-N-N-I. Okay, I'm the vice president of the Golden Age Social Club of Park Ridge. And my concern is that every year for many, many years, we applied for funding for our club from the freeholders. And we've always gotten it. And this year, we didn't. And when we asked what happened, we were told that the rules had changed or nobody seems to know what happened. And I think part of it is that the financial officer in town left, and then we were given a part-time interim person, and then a new person came in. And my instinct is that probably something fell between the cracks. But the reality is that $3,000 is very important to us. And so we would like to know what it is we did wrong and how we can make sure that next year it doesn't happen so that we can apply. You know, if you change the rules, then what other kinds of grants are there that we can apply for that we're missing?
I don't know what's appropriate, Mr. Chairman, but if you'd like me to address that.
Sure. I think
that was an
internal. Why don't you step up to the mic? We don't usually do this, but this is part of bringing the meetings on the road that, you know, we'll go out of order.
There was a transition here in the borough, and that was something that there was some misinformation going around. It will be corrected. I'm sure that this won't be a problem next year.
If you need any help, Julie Niels is our administrator.
We'll take you up on it. But yeah, that's the reason. I'm confident that we'll get this resolved for the next.
Thank you. And Matt Capilli, Council President of Park Ridge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just to the Freeholder Board and the Chairman, I just wanted to thank you again on behalf of the Council for working with us over the past year to get the speed limit lowered, for having the grant funding out there for open space for us. It's something that we take advantage of, and we appreciate the county consistently offering it. So I don't want to take more of your time. Just to thank you from, sincerely from the residents of Park Ridge, myself, the rest of the council, to you for all that you do. So we appreciate it.
Thank you, Council President. Okay, being no one else wishing to speak, I have a motion to close the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Just to touch on one more thing, talking about grants and open space. Bergen County is also where we offer shared services to any municipality that wants to take us up on it. That's a great way. A lot of municipalities refinance their debt. Yep. They use shared services when it comes to equipment. And Mayor, I'm just putting it out there. I don't know how if you ever need us, or ever need us, we're there for any shared services. It helps everybody. Okay. Thank you. Will the clerk read the resolutions on the consent agenda?
Resolutions 811-18 through 878-18.
May I have a motion to accept the resolutions on the consent agenda as read by the clerk?
Move the consent agenda.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Roll call.
Fielder Hermosa. Yes. Fielder Gantz.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Fielder Tonelli.
Yes.
Fielder Voss.
Yes.
Fielder Zerk.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
7 ayes.
Are there any resolutions pulled, postponed, or tabled?
There are none.
Okay. We'll now go on to our ordinances for the first reading and introduction. Ordinance 1823 through 1833. Will the clerk, I'm losing it. Oh, excuse me, Jody, my wife. Hello? Come on back in. I was going to save it to the end, but the kids got school. I just want to introduce my wife and my children that came here. She tried to sneak out on me. So that's Karen and Jason. She's a school teacher, and obviously the other two got school, so they'll be leaving as soon as I start talking again. Thank you for coming. You quiz when you get home. Will the clerk read ordinance 1828 by title only?
1828 is an ordinance establishing a speed limit along Park Avenue in the borough of Park Ridge.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1828 as read by the clerk? So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Fielder Rosa.
Yes.
Fielder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Fielder Tonelli.
Yes.
Fielder Voss.
Yes.
Fielder Zerr.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1828 passes first reading.
So there you go, Park Ridge. Thank you. A lot of hard work by the mayor and council, and like Keith said, that's all about safety, and we're willing to partner with the town anytime we can. Will the clerk read ordinance 1829 by title only?
1829 is a bond ordinance amending the bond ordinances described in section 1 herein, all to provide a $2,098,913.07 supplemental appropriation for and amend the description of the project authorized in section 3 of bond ordinance number 635, finally adopted on December 20th, 2006.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1829 as read by the clerk? So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Fielder Rosa.
Yes.
Fielder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Fielder Tonelli.
Yes.
Fielder Voss.
Yes.
Fielder Zerr.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1829 passes first read.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read ordinance 1830 by title only?
1830 is a bond ordinance amending section 3A of bond ordinance number 820, finally adopted on June 4th, 2008, in order to revise project description referred to therein.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1830 as read by the clerk?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call.
Fielder Rosa.
Yes.
Fielder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Fielder Tonelli.
Yes.
Fielder Voss.
Yes.
Fielder Zerr.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1830 passes first read.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read ordinance 1831 by title only?
1831 is an ordinance reappropriating $147,575.74, proceeds of obligations not needed for their original purposes, in order to provide for landfill and capping improvements at Overpeck County Park by the County of Bergen.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1831 as read by the clerk?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Fielder Rosa.
Yes.
Fielder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Fielder Tonelli.
Yes.
Fielder Voss.
Yes.
Fielder Zerr.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1831 passes first read.
Thank you. Will the clerk please read ordinance 1832 by title only?
1832 is a bond ordinance amending section 3A of bond ordinance number 918, finally adopted on June 24th, 2009, in order to revise project description referred to therein.
May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 1832 as read by the clerk?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Fielder Moroso.
Yes.
Fielder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Fielder Tonelli.
Yes.
Fielder Voss.
Yes.
Fielder Zerr.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1832 passes first read.
Will the clerk, thank you. Will the clerk please read ordinance 1833 by title only?
1833 is a bond ordinance providing for the purchase of school buses for the county special services and vocational school districts by the County of Bergen, appropriating the aggregate amounts of $280,000 therefore, and authorizing the issuance of $266,500 bonds or notes of the county to finance part of the cost thereof.
May I have the motion to introduce ordinance 1833 as read by the clerk?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Roll call, please.
Freeholder Amoroso.
Yes.
Freeholder Gans.
Aye.
Vice Chairwoman Ortiz.
Yes.
Freeholder Tonelli.
Yes.
Freeholder Voss.
Yes.
Freeholder Zerk.
Yes.
Chairman Sullivan.
Yes.
With 7 ayes, 1833 passes first reading.
Okay, that's it for ordinances, correct?
Correct.
We'll now have the Freeholder Committee reports. I ask that we be brief and responsive to business. Freeholder Tonelli.
Thank you, Chairman. I have a really brief report tonight. Terrific Thursdays. Our free concerts in the park ended last week. I just want to thank everyone that helped make them possible, all of the staff, all of the county employees, parks employees. The groups were spectacular. It was, again, another successful year. Look forward to the groups that we bring in next year. I'd like to thank the county executive and the Parks Department for continuing to enhance what we put on in our parks. Actually, tonight, a few things were actually mentioned, what we do in our county park. And then I just wanted to thank the chairman for putting the resolution tonight, acknowledging September as Hydrocephalus Awareness Month. It was a late addition to the agenda. And like we mentioned earlier, it affects 1 million Americans nationwide. It's important to raise awareness for not just this, but for all the things that are affecting our children. Like I said earlier, what was amazing to me is that it doesn't just affect infants, it affects our older population as we get older. For no reason, the drain doesn't drain, the fluid in your brain doesn't drain, and it puts so much pressure, creating headaches, seizures. A lot of seniors suffer with it, and there's got to be a solution. I was just talking to someone recently that works for the FDA that there's some real breakthroughs from some of the research. So organizations that raise $500,000 for research is really starting to pay off. So we just ask everybody to pray for all those children that have to deal with this every day. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Freeholder, and I just want to thank you for bringing this to a public forum where it can be heard by many. And we appreciate your efforts and we wish you well. Freeholder Zor.
Thank you, Chairman. With the last week of summer, I think a lot of our time this week was filled with some of these wonderful traditions in Bergen County that are part of what makes this county such a wonderful place to live and raise our families. Most of us were at the Rutherford Street Fair and the Garfield Feast and the Lodi Feast, St. Joseph's Feast, as well as the Paramus had the B Street Band, which is a Bruce Springsteen cover. We had movies, so many of our parks this summer. I personally gave out popcorn at the Black Panda that was playing up at Darlington. But these are some of the things that we do and we provide that really enrich people's lives within the county, and it's such a wonderful thing to build community and help to enrich our community that way. Many of us also were at the American Dream Labor Appreciation event last week, which was our first inside, for me, it was the first inside view of what's being built down there, and I have to tell you, it's really spectacular. The retail stuff, will be important as far as jobs, and the jobs that are being brought for labor right now as they're building it are amazing. And it's so important for us to pause and say thank you to the men and women who are building that incredible complex, who are putting their sweat equity into that building, which is going to really provide so many tremendous recreational opportunities, social opportunities as well for our community. So that was really a special opportunity for us to see. Congressman Gottheimer had yesterday a veterans job fair, and the county was a very active participant in that, making sure that we're highlighting not only the things that we're doing to make sure that we're getting our veterans to work, but drawing attention to the fact that we are one of the first communities to end veterans homelessness, that we have brought veterans services to what was Bergen Regional Medical Center, now Newbridge Medical Center, and that we're continuing to prioritize our veterans. We had some exchanges this past week with folks from Korea who were coming to talk to us about their transportation issues, and we were sharing our challenges. We spoke to as well with some individuals from England who are trying to bring our stigma-free, our mental health services and awareness to the UK, actually. And so there's so many throughout not only the state, but throughout the world. We're looking to Bergen County as a beacon. I also want to just thank Mark Anderson, who retired this week at New Jersey Buddies. New Jersey Buddies, for the last 25 years under his leadership, has really been a service for those who are living with and battling and testing for HIV. I wanted to just, on the record, thank him for his service and wish him well in his next chapter. And also, as long as I'm giving thank yous, I want to thank all the school teachers who have, like your wife, who have really gone above and beyond, who, as I was kind of doing that mom doing the dance today, as I got my last one off to school, I am so grateful for all they do to make sure that our kids have every opportunity to learn and grow and develop. So a big round of applause to all of our teachers. And Chairman, on that note, I will end my report.
Thank you. Our mayor's wife is also a teacher. I should bring that.
This is our council president right in front of me.
I was going to get to that. Thanks. Council president is also a teacher. Freeholder Ortiz, Vice Chairwoman.
Thank you. Chairman Sullivan and myself attended Governor Murphy to Paramus last week to sign a law about bus safety and how important it is, for the children after the tragic accident in Paramus that we lost a student and a teacher, and for the safety of our children, which is also tied to an ordinance 18-33, which is for special services in the School of Technology, in which we'll be purchasing 6 new school buses, which with the shoulder restraints, which are the ones that are going to be now required here in the state of New Jersey. And I'm just extremely proud of all our colleagues here on the board, which we voted on it tonight, and for our county executive for being such an advocate. I also wanted to touch on the American dream, because the numbers are staggering on how many jobs are going to be brought to New Jersey, especially North Jersey. Right now they have 1,600 construction workers, of which by the fall they'll have 3,000. And once the project is in full effect by the spring, which is when it's supposed to be open, they're expecting over 16,000 jobs, which is over $1 billion in wages, which is that's a lot of money, and that's great for North Jersey. So I'm very excited for this project. I also wanted just to touch on resolution 869-18 on Suicide Prevention Month. I guess it's touching to me just because both my grandfather and my uncle committed suicide, and it's amazing how depression can affect not only the youth or the middle age, and my grandfather was 92, so it could affect every age group. And I'm very also proud of our county and how important it is for mental, stigma-free or mental awareness, and that 69 of our 70 towns are stigma-free, and that we're always, as a county, always on top of this and how important it is for our community. And that's it. And happy, I just want to wish everyone a happy Labor Day for all the kids that are back to school. And September 11th is coming, and we will, at the county, will be having our September 11th ceremony, and it will be held at Overpeck Park at 4 o'clock at Overpeck Park on the Leonia side, if you can make it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chairman. Freeholder Moss.
Thank you, Chairman. Just before I begin my report, I'd like to say to the gentleman in the back who was in the red shirt, I was in Trenton for a long time, and I sponsored many bills to protect the bears and also to stop bow and arrow shooting and hunting and stuff like that. You have got to get to all of the representatives in the Assembly and in the Senate, because each one has to feel the impact of what the people are feeling. And it's not just one person. The South tends to have a different orientation than the North. So just
yeah, we already did that for years. It's Sweeney. It's Sweeney. Sweeney's running the state, not the governor.
Okay, some of the wonderful events we've been listening to, and the Rutherford Fair was kind of the last of the summer ones. But we have such a wonderful, diverse population here in Bergen County that on Sunday we had a huge Filipino festival at Overpeck Park, and every nationality, every group has access to that park, and it is just wonderful for everybody to see different cultures. Most people know that I am passionate about education, and there are several things that I want to call your attention to. First of all, September 8th is International Literacy Day. You would be absolutely amazed United States, over 33 million. Right here in Bergen County, over 140,000. And so literacy is the key to everything. And please, UNESCO says that knowledge is the remedy for all of our problems. And so hopefully we will impart this to our children. Last year's theme, and this is going to segue into my American dream. Last year's theme was literacy in the digital world, and this year's theme of literacy is literacy and skills development. Now, many of us went to the American Dream labor rally a few days ago, and I have to tell you that I've been involved in that project since it was called Xanadu. I have climbed over every inch of the place and went through all of the different developers who attempted to make this project live. I think we're finally going to do it. But the labor unions were fantastic. And because it was just Labor Day, and I am an avid reader of newspapers and everything, there was a wonderful editorial which I just want to share with you. And it's Labor Day reminder to properly train staff. Now, having been an educator for most of my life, one of the things that has really, really disgusted me is the fact that we were doing away with all kinds of things in schools like the electrical shop, like carpentry, like machine shop, like automotive shop. I was a teacher for over 40 years, and I have to tell you, the teachers who taught those subjects saved, I can't tell you, hundreds and hundreds of kids in my school. And this, I'll just read you a little bit because usually I don't, but this year Labor Day has special meaning for working men and women. With the nation's economy running at a decades-long high, the need for skilled and dedicated workers has reached critical importance, and the value of labor is finally being recognized. But policy changes must be made to give labor its rightful place in the national economy. The American economy needs better trained, fairly compensated domestic workers who have been ignored for many years. America needs a coherent, workable policy to train people for a variety of jobs and skills, including the manufacturing jobs. Our high schools and colleges do a poor job training young people for the workplace. Classes teaching manual trades have almost become extinct. This is something I'm fighting very, very hard for, because we are doing some great things here in Bergen County, but people need to see that the regular public schools are going to reincorporate these. And I have to say our governor, Murphy, is doing some things which I very much approve of. First of all, he's going to be spending more state aid, and hopefully it'll be schools that are going to incorporate more vocational education. As an educator, any educator, and I know there are a few here, hate the PAC tests. They have been a disservice to the kids, and the governor says less PAC training, okay? All kids learn differently. And one of the things is we need to empower students to become involved and get out and vote, and this is so important. We just mentioned that 9/11 is coming up, and if you can think, 17 years have passed. Some of the kids who are graduating from high school today weren't even born. And it is so important that we remember and never forget what has happened. Jermaine mentioned that we have the Bergen County Memorial at 4 p.m. on the 11th. Fort Lee, my hometown, has a very, very large memorial service, and you're more than welcome to come, and it will be at 7 p.m. on the 11th. And so please, don't forget our kids, and don't forget our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Phil again.
I was going to give a long report. I'm not going to. I'm going to pass my time to you, Chairman.
That's very, very kind of you. Thank you, David. Freeholder Amoroso. I'm sure you'll take his time.
First of all, I want to say that I am happy, we are all very happy to be here in Park Ridge, and love to see our mayor, whom we campaigned with, and our council president, councilman. Thank you. I lived in Hillsdale for a number of years, and I always found Park Ridge to be a very neighborly town, and I see that tonight. Firstly, I am part of a school safety committee assembled by the Bergen County prosecutor to come up with best practices for preventing and preparing for school shooter incidents. Very important thing. Julia Niels is also part of the committee. We have been meeting monthly for 3 months, and we hope to have a best practices manual for a big law enforcement conference in October. We are looking at things like the physical layout and ways to provide protection in schools, training for teachers, staff, students, and law enforcement, mental health issues, and assessing the risk of certain elements of the school population, and making sure that all school districts and law enforcement in Bergen's 70 towns understand the same protocols, so there is no confusion when law enforcement from other towns or from the county is called in to assist at an active shooter situation in one town. So there'll be more coming on this in the fall. Secondly, I want to commend the governor and the legislature for a law signed late last month that requires all high schools to have Narcan, the medicine that reverses opioid overdoses, to have it on hand and to have the school nurses trained in its administration. The bill's sponsor, Teresa Ruiz, said the legislation is worthwhile if it just saves one life, and I certainly believe it could save more. We can't hide our heads in the sand. The danger, as we've been talking about tonight, the danger is all around us. And finally, I have a piece of historical trivia that I read in a novel on vacation. Did you know that women had the right to vote in New Jersey between the late 1700s and 1807? They had the right to vote. The framers of New Jersey's first constitution in 1776 gave the vote to all inhabitants of this colony of full age who are worth 50 pounds and have resided within the county for 12 months. The other 12 new states restricted voting to men. Of course, married women couldn't own property, so it was the single ladies voting in New Jersey during this time. In 1797, New Jersey made history when the New Jersey Assembly passed the 1797 voting law, which specifically recognized the right of women to vote across the state. New Jersey women, the single ones, voted in large numbers until 1807, when the Assembly passed a law limiting suffrage to free white males. From there, as we all know, it took until 1920, when the 19th Amendment gave women across the country the right to vote. But here we are, female-dominated freehold. Thank you, Chair.
You want me to start singing all the single ladies?
That's right.
Thank you, Chair. She likes to continue to mention the female domination on the board. Tonight, the Freeholder Board passed Resolution 822-18, in which Bergen County entered into shared service agreement with 18, the Bergen One Stop Career Center. This will offer services for those on state assistance programs to become employed and move towards self-sufficiency. Additionally, the board passed resolutions 854-18 and 846-18, in which we entered into shared services agreement with Woodridge for both vehicle repair maintenance and the use of the county-owned street sweeper. Just another example of creating savings to the residents of Bergen County through shared services, which I've spoken about earlier today. I'd also like to highlight Ordinance 1833, in which the county will purchase new school buses for Bergen County schools in compliance with the newly passed legislation requiring additional safety measures for seatbelts. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the ordinance tonight, which is our first reading, and the next reading will be the public hearing on the reduction of the speed limit here. I know that speaking with the mayor and the council, I think they've had some fatalities on the street, and hopefully that this will move to correct some of the things. And Mayor and Council, I want to thank you for being persistent. I know that there was a time that some people thought that this wasn't going to happen, and I don't know, the mayor didn't stop. He continued to go forward, and we got together and talked to my colleagues on the Freeholder Board, and we made this a priority, and we thank you for helping us with that. I also want to say thank you to my colleagues on the board who attended the ceremony of the American Dream that everyone has spoken about. It honors various labor groups involved with that project. Unfortunately, I was away on business representing those groups that were there. I was in Chicago on business for the IBW, which is one of the trade unions down there. So I couldn't attend, but I will tell you that the workmanship and the craftsmanship is the best you'll ever see. And we take pride in building these type of things. We take pride in our building period. And it's always done on time and on the budget. So we continue to do that. Thank you, Park Ridge Mayor Keith Mashag and Mr. Capilli, Mr. Mestor, who are here tonight, the entire council, for having us here tonight. Again, I'm going to toot the horn of our freeholders, Zora Tonelli, who brought this initiative to the board. And by looking by the crowd in the room, it's really starting to catch on, which is great. And we're going to continue to do that. One of the things I do want to bring up, obviously we spoke about addiction awareness. I've shared to you, I've had my best friend lost to heroin, my brother to alcoholism, and I just want to reiterate what I said before, that this county will not stop. And we know we're fighting an uphill battle, but we're going to continue to fight because it's the right thing to do. And that's what we do here on this business. And the last thing I want to talk about is one of the resolutions we passed tonight, 871 on Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. That is this month. Our county executive at our work session spoke on being a cancer survivor. Our own Julian Niels, I don't want to put him on the spot, he spoke about being a cancer survivor while surviving this disease, which can be taken care of if it's detected early, and it's a simple blood test. So it's Prostate Cancer Awareness Month. PSA test, when you're going to get any other blood test, ask your doctor to throw in a PSA test. It's detectable. If you get it early, it's very curable. And I just want to bring that to light. As the county executive asked me to speak on it tonight, and I'll follow through with that. And that concludes my report. Thanks again to the mayor and council. Julian would like to say something.
Just one point, in recognition of the fact that it is in recognition of prostate cancer. No matter what age, there's recommended ages when they suggest that men should go and get their tests. I was 46 years old. It was a routine medical exam, and the doctor noticed a slightly high PSA number. I was otherwise asymptomatic. I followed his advice and went to get it checked out, and I had a very aggressive form of cancer. I needed surgery about 2 months later. So the whole, and otherwise a very healthy individual. And that's why I say for everyone out there listening, and as the chairman knows, have indicated, the PSA is part of your routine blood test, and to make sure that that is part of your regular exam. Depending on where you're from, there are different recommendations, but I would say any male over the age of 45 and up. The PSA, there's nothing extra to do as part of the blood test and to have it checked out. So thank you for that, Joe.
Thank you, Julian. Last thing is freeholders or pass me a note. I want to make sure that we wish everyone a happy Rosh Hashanah holiday coming up, safe and happy holiday. And what's that? Monday, Tuesday. What's the other name for it? There you go. I wasn't even going to attempt it. There being nothing further to come before this meeting, can I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. We are adjourned at 8:59. Thank you.